Orphan here, welcome back to Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. Last time we did the investigation to Taka and Fumi's death. This time we are beginning class trial. And this trial is my least favorite trial in the game. Because as you're going to see, it's going to repeat a lot of stuff over and over and over again to make sure that the player doesn't get lost for too long and to make sure they're on the right track. And it's annoying hearing the same shit over and over again. It steadies your aim a little. Yep, that's what cool and composed is, and I like that. Focus recovers more quickly. Yes. Handiwork. Shit, I actually would prefer handiwork instead of breathing technique. I prefer that instead of breathing technique. And I guess I'll do lost in thought because why the hell not? Anyways, let's begin.
Let's begin with a basic explanation.
It's not a short trial either. There's a lot to go over.
Your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Now then, to begin with...
We already know who did it!
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try and deny it! You killed them!
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it. And all of it was found in your room.
I think someone put it in his room.
The evidence is quite compelling.
A certain someone.
It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it
so
while
fucking
committing
obvious we did this
crime.
crime. But, yeah.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know. I don't know.
Is Hiro the killer, or before anything else, I have to make that clear. Bum, the bang now.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
Chameleon and Hero's killer, is that really true?
Everything we found, the
Blueprints, the suit.
No, that's wrong.
Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
Yeah, no shit, we know you're dumb. Really dumb. Probably the dumbest person in the series.
Hiro's the culprit?
And he is not the only one. I think Hiro is innocent as well.
What?
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
Wow!
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
Tell him, Makoto! Yeah, just of course he passed it off to me. That's what Miyake always fucking does. He always says, tell him, Makoto.
Who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
It's like a fucking meme of this game is to tell him, Makoto. It's here.
Other than Hiro,
So Illuminati's
I
fucking
can't
option.
think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit, and we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the
At
Robo-Justice
least that's
suit.
cleared out immediately.
What?
That problem
Now
cleared out
that's a bold
immediately.
assumption.
And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Okay,
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
let him boss us around this situation.
All
You're not
things have a
fucking
proper
helping
order.
in this case,
So
Cena.
what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Tell him, Makoto! Things that are using in Taka's body. There are two things you need to present, and you can present them in any order, but you need to present both of them. The blue tarp,
I got it!
and there's still one more thing. And the repository gun. It's the only time in a series this ever comes up where you have to present two
They were
things. Back to
a
back.
dolly and a tarp, right?
Let's put that attitude.
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room, and then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there, and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body?
Yes.
That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway.
Wow.
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
I've never had anyone sound so nice while being so mean. Or maybe I can change your mind. I've explained that my dolly must have been moved from the equipment room to the hospital. New elements may add the bolt time out. And yes, bolt time battle not at the end of the trial. Wow. Amazing. Talk about reloading. Start with the next bolt time battle. We're going to add one more ingredient to the recipe. On screen, I need to have more UC ammo count. Up and on, there hasn't been a limit on how you destroy your statements. Now I'm just locking on print triangle button and on the ammo. Cost you one bolt just for a single remark. If you're out of bolts, you can't destroy any more statements no matter how locked you are. You can reload by pressing the square button. As I locked on, you have to press the square button when tempo or after. Basically, because I'm the square button now has a function along with the cross and triangle buttons. You'll automatically reload the start of fever time and your ammo will not increase. Actively send generally you don't have to reload it now. Which means you can ignore everything inside. Good Look at that. This is why handiwork from Ifumi is so nice and helpful, because it reloads 2 bullets at once. It's really nice.
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Do your worst. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Do your worst. I cannot.
This should prove it. If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here. When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room.
Yep.
And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Jesus, that's really ate me that much?
Well,
Wow.
anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way.
Ha.
Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
Oh yeah. Think about how the body was really clear. Why a person suit couldn't have done it. What does he mean by that?
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer just crouched down and carted the body off to the repository.
If you accept everything we just said, then you must realize that whoever was in the suit couldn't possibly be the culprit.
Sorry, I don't think I realize anything.
Oh my god, you idiot. Science using Taka's body, that much I'm sure, but with the person science been able to push the dolly. Damn.
As we know, and from there.
Yeah, the then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind.
Well, yeah.
All you'd have to do is...
I was waiting for a fucking white noise, but I didn't see any show up at all. I'm playing on me, there's no white noise there? Okay.
You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember?
Yeah. You weren't yourself, Nina. Mine's a bad here. I can't see my feet at all. I got anywhere in this thing. And it wasn't me. Not to mention, you totally can't bend on the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the
Oh
dolly
my god,
with your
Celeste,
feet?
you have the worst fucking arguments.
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
With the fucking body under
It'd
the
be
car.
totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
There's absolutely no chance Captain could have taken off just moves off because you can't take it off by yourself.
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
I don't know what's up with this thing, but I can't actually get it off. Help! How do you make something you can't take off by yourself? I didn't make the stupid frickin' thing. The clasp on the back that's keeping you from getting it off. Looks pretty sturdy. I don't think you can get off on your own. You don't really have a choice. Let's help him.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
You put it on yourself!
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect
God,
him.
there was stuff floating in my eyes!
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true that Robo-Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please.
Blast!
Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
How did you get hurt? That guy hit me. What kind? Robo-Justice. That's what I had to call him just now.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hero, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
gotta be
Tina.
right.
Hold on a second.
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it.
What do you mean?
Before we rush to a verdict,
Monica will fucking times us every fucking time!
single possibility.
I think there's a little bit of a hurry!
Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
Isn't Series of Unfortunate Events a book series?
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes,
Or
we
am I
have to
wrong?
do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
Head no.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
Yeah, she saw a shadow at the top of the stairs.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor.
Yeah, this is the whole recap that I was
soon
talking
after
about,
that-
little boy.
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, what's wrong? Not a rather intense scream with someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. Not as soon as I screamed. Locking the stairs so I headed further down to the hallway and disappeared.
And then,
What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi's in the nurse's office. Yeah, come on, we have to go back.
at that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement.
We know he wasn't actually dead because he woke up earlier. Or later.
I
not
left
earlier.
Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time. Because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us, and she told us something very surprising.
Hifumi's body had disappeared.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
This can't be happening. We all hallucinating this all someone.
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time,
Celeste
big
informed
old
us that
fucking
she found
recap.
the bodies,
Oh,
and we
God.
all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
A big old fucking recap.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole
Back to
thing
the
is
trial!
exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
I'm not understanding what happened to Taka. In order to cover truth case, I have to find him no matter what. Alright, back to the fucking trial after that fucking recap. God! The worst part of this fucking trial, that goddamn recap.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last
what makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
You're just Sam Regan to my nerves. Something about that bothered me.
So, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they.
No, that's wrong.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their
Yeah,
numbers.
the copy thing's back. Oh boy.
If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order,
Yep.
But in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi?
Yep.
Okay then, let's see the proof.
I think Taka was killed before Hifumi. I feel like there was something. Hangman Gambit. Big word, but I know it is. It is wristwatch. W. I mean, I. Give me the I. And then W. You stay here. C. Where's the H?
Now I understand. I've got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night...
Hey you, how long are you gonna keep us waiting? I hear his voice pierce in the air as he stared pointedly at his wristwatch. Almost 10 o'clock, you know, bedtime for all little boys and girls.
So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Huh? What was that? I came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi's in the nurse office. Bad, we have to go back.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
Not the worst
If that's
idea.
true, where's the tape?
It's not the worst idea that Hero's ever had, but like...
Don't just go making
Come
stuff
on,
up.
we don't have a fucking tape or anything.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid
It's
alibis
not the
for
worst
when we
idea
heard
you've ever
Hifumi
had.
scream.
Still.
Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Yep.
Then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how.
It's a good
In
idea.
particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
We could not have been gone for more than a minute or two, though. Kira was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short amount of time.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Yes, we know this because he fucking
wasn't
went back to
carried out
alive.
of the
Oh my
nurse's
god.
office, but simply walked out on his own.
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
The fact that you people do not remember.
Isn't possible.
My god, the fact that you people do not remember that he came fucking alive again and talked to us later is the biggest problem I have with this goddamn case. Ugh. God damn it, you idiot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
But the body discovery announcement was only made once, that much I'm sure of.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body to Hifumi's
Dead body had... No, that's wrong! Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Second body discovery announcement. First time playing with that. Second time is when both bodies were rediscovered.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
Ding dong, body's been discovered.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet.
Yes, which we should have already known this because he came back to life!
Until we came upon him in the repository.
I'm frustrated by that
And
point
that's
in this
just
chapter.
part of it.
Ugh.
There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
There has to be proof that shows if he was still alive. I have to find the show that
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Oh, look, something, yeah, I think so too.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous.
The reason I can say Fumi is still alive is just fun kind of understanding. I'm sure it'll become clear.
Well, here's one. The first time we found him, and then
Fast forward.
his body disappeared.
And the next time it was in.
But when you compare his body before, other than the change, there was
No notable difference.
No, that's wrong.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses.
Yay, play.
That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Who the contrast can the nurse's office was?
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
the character was Princess Piggles.
Yes.
The demon angel, pretty pudgy princess, I think.
You remember
I
that.
highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
Of course.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his
my
glasses
God.
was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
Yeah.
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
One of the Taka's corpse was Hifumi.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
Yep.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
The thing that Hifumi took from Taka, could it be?
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
Hey. Not a whole maybe easy to escape. Monokuma can't find out. Don't tell anyone else for now. Let's be in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Hifumi's pants! No, Taka.
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear,
Oh my god.
TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Hey, that text seriously scary. Not scary, it's just funny as hell. It makes this stuff so much more fucking irritating, god.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
Trying to read the
Remember
fucking
what
thing
the note
still.
said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
I I mentioned no. I feel like that's the key.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was in must have been Huffy!
So that's what you're thinking. Okay,
But
that's
remember
what
what the note, what time did it? 6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with tick.
No, that's wrong. No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
We're definitely stealing that from Taka.
I got it!
There's that paper.
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
No.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
Wow.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, he
It
said
seems
something
there's some
smart.
semblance of a brain knocking around that
Oh
skull
my
of
God,
yours
he said
after
something
all.
actually somewhat smart.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
Maybe back.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then...
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
I don't know if that's used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture on the gates won't become clear until we figure that out. Someone had to find the truth.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
I feel like that's not an actual
one thing
website.
seems
Let's
pretty
not
clear.
try typing that in.
The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And, that's about it.
The weapon used to kill Hifumi really was similar to what used to kill Taka.
What was used? Was it just maybe Justice?
Well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody...
Sounds like a Justice Hammer! Check out murdergear.com!
Well, what? The murder weapon had to be...
No, that's wrong.
The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris, but for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their
I
design.
think they literally took them off the wall and painted them. But,
If that's
like,
true,
yeah, they're
that
missing,
would explain
yeah.
the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with
Of course you do.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about there would be any agreement with her. At least that's what we thought first, but...
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
The popular comments believe that and saying there's some chance.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds.
No, that's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, If only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
Yeah. Never made it into two murders the same. That was the main character of this song. Pretty much the theft from the beginning. Well, I said not to look at this series connected to entirely separate things. Joker is amazing, although I think she's almost too amazing. It's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
True killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions in the end murder. The debates up till now, the way the case unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seemed to fit. And it's been so fucking obvious this whole fucking time. I need to go through this whole fucking rigmarole just to convict you, Celeste. God damn it!
It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now.
You've been suspicious since the beginning of this, god damn it. This is so fucking obvious.
Joke.
A joke? I wonder.
The only other case that's more obvious than
So
this
what
one,
you
the
are
first
saying,
one
then,
with Leon.
Is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Voice acting does
To
get
be
good here,
clear,
though.
there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What's the only thing Hifumi and Celeste have in common? Encountered suspicious
I
individuals.
got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Byakuya, I figured this out at the fucking
Sorry.
beginning.
As he said,
Seriously.
only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the
So
costumed
you shut
individual.
up. God damn it.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
Saw a shadow something on top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? It was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. And off as soon as I screamed. He was walking upstairs, we headed further down to the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
there, then he screamed down there.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Yeah, Celeste told us, yes, we know.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
Yeah, that fucking weird ass scream.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we are on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I suddenly not expecting this, and I meant that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
He must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Jackie said his last comment doesn't make sense, but what is he alluding to?
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Well, Celeste said what she did. She shouldn't have known it. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said is...
All I said, they must really enjoy the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die.
Just...
No, that's wrong. Alright, time to talk about this part. Oh boy.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? how did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys?
This one's a little interesting because obviously this is probably an English thing. So obviously in English you could probably, Celeste's defense here should be just like those guys died. In English that could probably be used as a neutral term. And her defense should be, oh, I meant like, you know, Mondo, Chihiro, Leon, Saik, Junko. She probably should have said, I meant like the people, you know, I meant like everybody, a those guys thing, a very general thing. But it was probably very much focused on a very masculine term. In Japan, probably would be my guess. I don't know the actual Japanese dialogue. I'm assuming that this is one of those weird differences between Japanese and English that probably is a little thing here. So it makes a little less sense in English, but it probably makes a ton more sense in Japanese.
Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations. If you want to picture the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is if Hifumi is dragging the suspect away.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Let's think so you prove that there's no way Hifumi dragging suspect like perfectly possible.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
God damn, Monica was white noise down there. That's not right. There's definitely a contradiction what Celeste is trying to claim.
You dressed me up in that, then you just draped it. You tried to make me look...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person in there's
No way they... No, that's wrong! No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
Totally can't bend at the waist.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate? Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Okay.
Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hifumi wasn't who attacked you. Who tried to kill you. Who killed me? I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
You're losing it.
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
God, the voice actor does such a good job of
But my
showing
name
Celeste
isn't really
losing
Yasuhiro.
it.
It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
He said people's last
I
names.
got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal, but he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
She's the only one without a last name.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name!
Yeah.
Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I?
You're starting to look like a very sore loser.
I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
So, make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
So let's don't get upset. And I have to do something to make her upset then.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
God, I love this part.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
Shut up, Togo.
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
Is there any way to make her face the truth?
Kafumi he wanted us to know the killer. If there's one person...
It would have to be you, Celeste.
Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. And since...
You have no way to... No, that's
Stop!
That's it! The handbook!
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to help you school life. Don't lose it. Start with spell your name. Always make sure you have the right one. It's not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Closing argument. Alright, this gets out here because your compass was deduction. This one. What time did her call their victim to the room? You need to be careful here. This is clearly Taka's wristwatch. You can see the little band on here. And this is just a regular clock, so do that to help you. Really clear summon first. It was the awesome hero. That is the only thing with him, right? Okay. You knock him out and stuff in the room with just use a certain item to do it. Yeah. So that time it's supposed to Taka's supposed to head to the equipment room. That would be with his wristwatch. Again, important. They will always ask you what Justice Hammer is using to kill Taka. It showed 4 back here, so just use 4 here. You can check that as a reference. In the library, if you use some of the victims in the Shadow Criminal, that'll be Justice Hammer number 2. You need to just straight up remember that one. That one you just need to straight up remember. Celeste was 1, Hifumi was 2 in the library. Which Justice Hammer is using Nurse Hospital until he's dead? That would be 3, and this one has blood on it. And I think that should be, and then this is, no, that's the, come on. Use this, and that's pretty much all of it, so yeah. Anyways, reenact time.
Here's exactly what happened. Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that, but while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor.
I, Celestia Ludenberg.
Actually, no, Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Keiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Hey! Hey! Game of mana coins!
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time, the true good device, the whole stinking scheme was Celestial Lindbergh, more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro!
Honestly,
I lost. Well, that sucks. Just trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Ifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Ifumi with this plan. How do you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure it's your specialty, lying. My specialty, don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then,
Then did you use, I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. Absolutely right, to get Ifumi to act as my accomplice.
indeed.
I used her. When you're still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name. Yeah, the first time that someone actually fucking does avoid mentioning it by name compared to all the other fucking times. Ugh, Chapter 3! It's the one thing Ifumi and Taka are both super into. Does she mean stuff alter ego?
Say what?
What are you talking about?
just a second.
Don't interrupt, we're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop as usual, how sad.
In other words,
You're the one that stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
You used to try to Ifumi into planning so much, but... Right again. Last night after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Ifumi a little visit. What are you doing here? I
Actually,
was hoping I could talk to you. Hello. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
are you okay
It
with
was
this?
Taka. He stole it.
So
And I have
then,
proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I found a use for a digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I believe the picture since I'd shown it to Ifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him! How do you do it? She was supposed to yell if I ever got close to her. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
as for
He's
me,
forgiven me. He threatened me.
Oh.
He did.
as for
He
me,
came to my room last night, unannounced, and it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
He took pictures. He said if I did not do as he had, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
It's a crime, an absolute crime. I mean, he knew he'd gone a little crazy, but
Say
I
what?
didn't imagine he would go that far. Of course he wouldn't. You're slandering Taka's good name like this, Celeste. Bitch. It was amazing. How completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. Honestly, son, I never said before in my life. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
most
Hey, please, if you
unfortunate.
go now, you're playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Taka's planning to use her to escape. He's made you his target.
What?
Escape? You don't mean Taka's going to try to kill you. What?
indeed.
And also he could keep her to himself. That bastard! Bastard, 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 bastard!
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? She.
I swear I will save her!
actually,
Would you like to join with me? I just so happens I've come up with a plan. Eh? I devised a way to reclaim what you've stolen and escape this dreadful school. With that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. If you may agree without a second thought, the effect that I had on him was remarkable. Our love, even a love as twisted as that, could still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have a question for you. Was that strange costume Fumi's praising?
Indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something hide the face and dinner body size. I know he'd make something like that, but my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
I say I'd make me a suspect. Because you're stupid. I mean, yeah?
Let's see.
In that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though. Feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your part to Fumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? But she's asking us, what was Fumi supposed to do after that, assuming you'd actually let him live?
Are you okay with
That's
this?
simple. He did his part intended to be dead when someone showed up. I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Of course, there wasn't all there was to it. I knew Fumi the plan was. While you're questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Fumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. That seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to level the opponent. In fact, Fumi ate up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end,
She had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there had been no point in my lifetime. The one who pretends to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life lead to a middle view?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
I sound like Byakuya.
I wonder about that.
No, you derive this pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Is it really just for money?
Hmm.
Talking about the $10 million Monaco offers. That is a lot of money, it's true. But that's not all there is to it. The moment our new life here began, the only thought had been escape.
But...
But all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You little
Obviously,
bitch!
that was a lie!
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. Weren't anyone else in here.
You little
Wanted to get
bitch.
out every day was fresh torture. You know why, huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. Accepting a life here meant nothing less than giving up my dream forever.
Honestly.
There's no way I could ever do that. In the current world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killer.
As for me,
And it was all for that dream. What was the dream of yours?
isn't it
To
wonderful?
live in a European castle. A castle? Together, handsome men from all over the world served my butler/bodyguards. Then make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I attained that, I would create a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
For the rest of my life, there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Very selfish person you are. On my own wings, Monaco was $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but
There is nothing to be
unfortunately,
done.
my dream has been scared to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets, so I pursue my dream to the very end. Why would I?
Just the worst.
Sounds so passionate, but you're really able to kill your own friends for it.
Oh,
You're asking me to feel guilty. That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing is sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
do you
That's all
understand?
there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying. And plus, you'd be so calm. As you're about to die. Aren't you scared? But the lies unravel, and I take pride in that. Not just other people, I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why you're not scared?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
right, I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. You know, if I could be reincarnated, I had a choice then.
Isn't it
I
wonderful?
think I would come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey!
It is good to execute again. I smiled then. She did look to me like a poor effort to force it. She claims she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. That weak fake smile is what betrayed her.
Thrills! Chills!
Hold on, okay, let's get rolling! Black and Sturdy Pete's must pay the price!
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler!
Let's give it everything we've got.
It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What?
This is...
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important.
Tell me!
Well then, take care, everyone.
They have that little bit of line there. Are they trying to give her a little more depth than just being a bitch? It would work a little better if this case was better, or if her whole character was written better. I'm not the biggest fan of her character. I don't think it's written the best. And I definitely don't think this case is written that great either. Ugh.
Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
As much as I complain about this chapter, that was a good execution. Just for her to think like, oh, she actually wants an extravagant death, and that seemed pretty extravagant at first with the whole castle and being burned and everything, very extravagant. And then she just gets run over by a fucking fire truck, and that's fucking great. That is fantastic. It's over. Third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Let's kill my friend, so I can't pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point I considered her a friend too. For him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Couldn't cut free their regrets spending outside world, so more people had to die.
Extreme!
You're still young and you place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna do?
Jeez, and I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation. If I give a hope, I'll throw it in the trash and just let me out of here.
Too bad.
Not the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. My destiny knocked you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but that reality just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. I'm gonna make us keep going through this. What do you want from us?
How strange.
God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. Anyway, Hyuga, I see you did some key-type objects in the last.
Hey!
So, what's the deal with that?
What?
What's the matter?
So then,
I'll answer your question if you answer mine.
you...
What did you do? What did you do to me?
Ooh.
What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body?
Ooh.
Oh man, oh geez, what did you mean? What did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. What was that just now? Mastermind did something to Havoc body. What does that mean?
Hello.
Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I got out of here. Well, you guys are going on doing your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. I don't do anything about it, of course.
See ya later.
See ya. Monokuma disappeared. They were all depressed and in despair. Though it wasn't all despair. There was one small hope. Hey, Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's the key Celeste gave you?
so...
Most likely. It's the key to one dressing room lockers. Huh? What then that means? Let's probably get it there.
Hey,
Well, sometimes you used to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well, then we better go check.
Indeed.
Good idea. We left the core room and rested the dressing room. As we approach the dressing room, Kyoko looked back to us and said,
Hey,
I'm gonna go alone from here. I know it's headed dying. I'll check in with you later.
What?
Why exactly are you going alone?
so...
You don't have to ask. As you spoke, she glanced quick at the surveillance camera.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Why you? You're still at risk of a spy, you know. And I'll go too.
What?
You. Please let me go. Then you're just gonna draw more attention to us.
Goodbye.
Do whatever you want. Thank you, Byakuya.
well then.
And it's up to you now.
Yo!
I'm gonna go to the dining hall, okay? Huh? So Makoto and Kyoko are gonna go together? Does that mean I think it means?
Okay.
Good luck, Makoto. Girls like her are total puts need to show a little backbone. I tried to forget what Hina said. Everyone had to the dining hall, leaving me and Kyoko there alone.
Shall we go?
Oh, shall we? Yeah.
So then,
we need to get into that locker. Yoko took the key Celeste had given her and unlocked the locker. As the locker swung open, we saw...
You really came.
Good morning. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's safe, thank goodness. Hearing Kyoko sound so relieved, it was like she's speaking from the bottom of her heart. I just did, just what Celeste asked. I didn't say a word, stayed quiet the entire time. Oh, and I think I might be able to last set of files soon, maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm doing my best, so please wait just a little while longer. It's gonna give us a safe case is closed. As far as the incident's concerned, sure, but can we take a second to get this opportunity? Will you be honest with me? Kyoko, please tell me, what are you trying to do all alone here at your studio?
you...
Do I want to come here with me?
However...
Guys, it's not something you need to know right now. I don't need to know. That just makes me even more worried.
What?
Worried? Look what happened during the investigation this time. You disappeared, we didn't see you again. Without warning, without explanation. When you do that...
Indeed.
You naturally think I'm the mastermind spy, right? And you too. No! I believe in you.
What?
You believe in me. And then obvious people believe in their friends, right? That's why I want you to tell me. I want you to believe in me too. Because we're friends. I understand.
It's true.
And maybe I can believe in you. Just a little bit more. Then...
That's fine.
Fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I've been disappearing and where I've been going. You see... What I heard from Kyoko then was... Well, frankly, it kind of blew my mind. Right after I told Kyoko I believe in her, she told me a story that was, well, almost unbelievable. So I had to confirm what she told me in my own two eyes, so I waited for nighttime to come. And when it did, I wanted action.
Correct.
The boys' bathroom on the second floor doesn't have a surveillance camera or monitor in it. Storage closet there, way in the back. She said it was way in the back of the boys' bathroom storage closet, but Kyoko can really be right about this. Before we really get to this, I want to mention something. I had heard before, I'd heard somewhere that, that the creator mentioned, the writer of this game mentioned that he regretted killing Taka in this chapter, but when I was looking for sources on this, I couldn't find it anywhere. Can someone... I remember hearing that somewhere, and I feel like I heard it multiple times, but I couldn't find the source wherever I looked. Can someone either confirm or deny this? And if you can confirm this, can you link the source? Can you, like, well, no, links are probably not a good thing to put in the comments. Links are not good, but, like, a way to lead people in the right direction as to what, you know, I'm looking for, if it is correct. Because I've heard of it. I couldn't find any interview or something like that. But I might not be looking in the right place. So, if anyone has any information about that, I would love to know. Because I swear I've heard something about that before, multiple times, but I couldn't find anything about it. Just something I wanted to mention here. Just a normal storage closet as far as I can tell. Secret Hero told me that. Could it really be hidden here? She said it was way in the back of the storage closet, but I mean, seriously? Without thinking, I placed my hand on the back of the storage closet. Suddenly, as if I were being yanked in. Like a shunk. Same time I heard that sound, I fell through the wall. I had no idea what was going on. Well, I fell through the back of the storage closet. Huh? It turned out the back wall is like a revolving door, and I made my way to the other side. Just like Kyoko had said.
Correct.
In the boys' bathroom, second floor, there's a storage closet. And way in the back of that closet, there's a secret room. And there's a secret room. What's in there? There's a bunch of files and what look like volume after volume of yearbooks. They're all covered in dust. Looking at everything, one file at the edge of the bookshelf caught my eye. Most the Academy Student Registry. That's the only thing in here not covered in dust. I've been looking at it recently. I slipped the file in my hand. Before I had a chance to take a look at it, I slipped a paper fell out of the file and turned my attention to it. What's this? You must not leave. It's kind of weird. I understand I said, like, I can't leave, but you must not leave? What is it? My head feels funny. A strange sensation. It's like deja vu. Those words, you must not leave. I've seen them somewhere before, but can't quite remember. What do I know? What don't I know? Rest in peace, McGuff. And he's alive. Strange sound rang out through my head. I felt like I was shaking my brain back and forth. And then, darkness. I don't understand what's happening. I don't know what started. It's all over. That I opened my eyes. I didn't know how long it had been. Ow! Apparently something hit me and I lost consciousness. That's all I understood. Dull throbbing pain in my head proved that much at least. An empty bookshelf? Empty. Gone. It's all gone. yearbooks, the student registry, and even a note that had fallen on the floor. It's all gone? What does this mean? My brain refused to do any more work. An insistent pain in my head began to spread across the rest of my body. For now, I should go back to my room, get some rest. My body was heavy with pain, my mind heavy with thought. I dragged myself back toward my room. So I made it back to the first floor of the school. Yeah. The farther I walked, the more I felt. Things are getting blurry. I can't see in front of me. I couldn't stop myself from collapsing right there. And after that... I think from a vast distance I heard a sound. It was faint but undeniable. That sound. It's coming from the gym? As I desperately hauled my shaky frame toward the gym, the sound got stronger and stronger. What's going on? Can't be nothing. Here in the gym? I didn't make a sound as I opened the door to the gym. The sounds coming from inside me will only intensify that much more. For me, the rate of battle beyond anything human possible. No, once I found human, that's for sure, but because I couldn't stop staring. I forgot to move or even breathe.
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. What's the meaning of this? How dare you defy me? This wasn't part of the deal!
The deal?
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat, no longer compromise, no longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
Okay, but you do realize what will happen if you go through with this, right? You haven't forgotten, have you? What I'm holding hostage?
What am I looking at? What am I hearing? A hostage? And could it be the mastermind spy is